Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on another wet, cold, windy morning in Reading. If you missed my video the other day, I've been away for work. I did hop over to Brentford yesterday to see what was quite frankly, quite a disappointing result in the end for us after how well we played in the first half. But waking up this morning, feeling a little bit sorry for myself. The storm is blowing. I was in this park the other day. It was absolutely full of people. Nobody here today. Everyone's hiding in bed. But maybe this will put a little smile, or at least give you somewhat of a grin this morning, as Manchester United Dan Ashworth has left Manchester United. That's right, an exclusive this morning by the main man, David Ornstein, reporting that Dan Ashworth, the man who, I would say is not in particularly well thought of around the parts of Newcastle United club fan base or anything else, or even in football in general, after the absolute circus saga that took place when, as a timeline, I think it was February, when Dan Ashworth pretty much asked or was approached by Manchester United on him leaving. He was then, to the credit of Newcastle, who acted very, very fast-paced on gardening leave, did not want him to be involved with the team, with the squad, after, saying that he didn't want to be here anymore. Fast forward to June, July time, Newcastle got compensation. I think it was around 7 million. So Manchester United paid Newcastle, I think it was around 7 million for Dan Ashworth. And now, as reported this morning, in December, just 5 or so-ish months later since he joined Manchester United, he has now left. After spending close to £300 million in the summer window, Sir Jim and the board have taken the decision that Dan Ashworth is not the man. After all of that, and he's coming away with, no doubt, his reputation in the pan, after basically screwing Newcastle, going somewhere else, spending a bomb, and then leaving anyway. My God. We will talk a little bit about Dan Ashworth, more about Dan Ashworth in this video, how it reflects into Newcastle United, and kind of based off where we are right now as a club with Paul Mitchell coming in. But my God, thank you very much for the £7 million, Manchester United. What is going on there? I mean, yeah, we've spoken about this plenty, and really this is more of a wake up the next day after a poor result and have ourselves a little bit of a smile, because that is absolutely mental. The fact that they paid him for us, and then, yeah, it's manic over there. They're making weird, wonderful and wild decisions. There's a bit of talk on, the Eric Ten Hag situation, who wanted him. I think Dan Ashworth was part of giving them his extension in the first place, and he's now gone. The loss last night again against Forest. Big up Chris Wood, by the way. Obviously, ex-Toon, absolutely smashing it. What's the record? The most goal, what is it? He got Forest all-time scorer in the Premier League for a season. Yeah, anyway, Chris Wood's doing pretty damn good. Tell you what we possibly could have done with him yesterday. Was at the game. Great fan atmosphere as always in the away end. Little stadium, but packed in away end. Plenty of people there. I think the singing was good. We're losing, then we were drawing, then we were losing, then we were drawing. And by all means, it was like the Liverpool game to kind of start it off. It was very, very end-to-end. And I would argue that's what we wanted. We wanted an open game. We've spoken about this a million times. Brentford played a blinder, tactically. I think they pulled the wool over our eyes, because they kept it open as well. It works for them. They can get Mbeumo on the ball. They can get a striker on the ball, Wizard on the ball. They're creating space. They're creating chances. And it kind of worked for us too. Because we could create chances back. But what they did well, as soon as they got that third, boom, right, defend now. Because we can't break teams down. So in the second half, we just looked absolutely dreadful, because we just didn't know what to do anymore. The reason we were in that game really is similar to the Liverpool one, was because the game was in free flow. The game was open. When you've got a player like Isak, they can make something out of it. As soon as they went, right, we're winning now, close the gates, well, he just stood around and looked at them, and defensively we were so poor. And I'm not going to hang on that too long, because I think coming out of the Liverpool game, that was the question, how do Newcastle react now? We've seen them beat Arsenal, we've seen them beat Chelsea, we've seen them get a great 3-3 draws like days of old with Liverpool, boxing it out with one of the top of the league team right now. Look, they've got some of the players they've got still. I know Salah's getting on a bit, but he's still world class. They've got some fantastic players there, and we went toe to toe and gave them a really good game. On a different day we could have won, on a different day they could have won. And that was the question right now. We've seen what we can do. Let's go and do it. Let's go and do it at Brentford. Let's go and do it at Leicester at home this weekend. I mean, my God, if Brentford away is not the... And look, Brentford are a good side. I think like the likes of Mbeumo, as I mentioned already, are very, very good. So, maybe I shouldn't put us down so much or put Brentford down, because, they deserved it in the end. They really mopped the floor with us come the second half. But we're going into Leicester at home in the next one. We've got Brentford at home in the Cup in the next one. Like, you're talking about barometer and where we are. I mean, like, we've got some games coming up here that we, should be on paper, should be a win. But often enough, it's the games on paper we shouldn't win, where we do something good in. And that's the thing, it's inconsistency. And it's now looking around and playing a bit of the blame game. Obviously, people are calling for... I've got my badge on there. People are calling... It's freezing, I've got to put my hat on. A bit of a blame game right now. Lots of people online last night after the game, Howe in or Howe out. And I think that there's a lot of consensus, that if Newcastle are still sat, mid-table, below mid-table come January, then maybe a decision's to be made. I think Eddie Howe will probably get the season regardless. Whether you think that's right or wrong, I would be very shocked if we actually went out and made the decision to let Eddie Howe go this January window. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's the thing to do. Let him... I think they've stuck by him for too long. I think they'll give him the season. And if we don't get European football this season, then I think they'll change it. That's what I think will happen. I hope to God he gets it. I don't want Eddie Howe to go. I like Eddie Howe. It just isn't, something isn't working. And this is how it kind of relates it to Dan Ashworth as well, because Eddie Howe, the players will probably point at Eddie Howe will point at the hierarchy will point at the players, like a little triangle blame, and it's all of them. That's the answer. But Eddie Howe would probably turn and say, it was a mess. The summer was a mess. Dan Ashworth bogging off was a mess. Amanda leaving was pretty messy as well. Eddie Howe probably had his... I don't think Eddie Howe particularly got on with Dan Ashworth. It sounds like Dan Ashworth don't get on with anyone. If Manchester United are already letting him go, as I say, thank you very much for the 7 million. Hope you enjoyed your gardening, Dan. God knows where he'll end up next. He'll probably get a job because he's had a reputation prior to us. But God, that reputation's taken a slam in the last couple of years. But there was a mess. I think Eddie Howe's probably somewhat, and then obviously the Darren Neal situation, very sad one that he will be stepping down from the club. Eddie Howe's kind of had a very big change up from what was previously you could argue, even though it was the PIF kind of small business mantra. Him, Amanda and Murdad crowding around the laptop going, who should we buy this weekend? Now it's turned into, oh my God, there's 7 people I've got to go through. And that's football now. That's the way things work. That's the way things change in football. And that's for Eddie Howe to get on with. And I think Eddie Howe's a professional. I think he will continue to work hard. But, I would... I went to see Kevin Keegan do a talk not long ago. I'd love to hear, the actual thoughts of Eddie Howe one day. Because he'll not hear it now. He's too professional for that. And even if he did leave January, summer or whatever, it would hurt his career if he came out. We should have seen what was bloody going on behind the doors. Maybe one day we'll find out. But I think it has been messy. But and that's what Eddie Howe will say. But that doesn't mean he's not to blame. Bringing on late substitutions, not starting Tonali. What? How? He was the best player by a mile against Liverpool, or he was certainly one of the best players. How is he not starting? Fatigue, whatever. They just play the man. And then I think the players have got to stand up as well. Shearer said it on Match of the Day last night. I was sat in my hotel room crying. Not really. The players can't just turn up for Liverpool and Arsenal and then just go back to bed for the next one. We'll have to turn up. The players have to have a degree. Is it because the players aren't playing for Eddie Howe? That's probably the biggest worry for me. It's not necessarily are the Eddie Howe's tactics working, is this working? It's have the players given up on Eddie Howe? Why aren't the players playing? They only play when they're at a packed St James's Park. Why aren't they playing yesterday afternoon? you know. So there's some big questions flying on there. But I think with Eddie, he's always going to revert back to all of that nonsense we've just discussed and the backing. Dan Ashworth just went and spent 300 million, you know, in less than 5 months. You know, we have spent a fair bit of cash as well, but we didn't really back him in the summer. The January before that wasn't perfect either. I think we'll give him the January. And you could argue, you know, if you're going to change a manager or you're going to mix things up, do you give the manager loads of money? I think they have to. I think they owe it to Eddie Howe. I think he's worked hard since he got here. And I think, is it poor management of money? You know, what's the crack with Barnes? You know, why have I got no right winger? You know, there's so much there. And I'm not going to unpack it all in this video because really, as I say, it was not a great day for us yesterday. There's work to be done. There's some big games coming up. You know, someone asked me before the Brentford game, you know, it's easy in hindsight. When someone said before the Brentford game, would you rather win today or would you rather, obviously you want to win them both, or do you want to win the cup game? And I did say the cup game. You know, get me back to Wembley as quickly as possible, please. And I think we'll do them at home. Brentford's home record is amazing and their away record is terrible. You know, it's gonna be the other way around. It's gonna be in our favour next time. Our home record at St James's Park's good. You know, so I think we'll beat them on the flip side. But we've got Leicester first. Got to kick into gear. You know, if we don't get up for it in this Leicester game, we've got to ask some big questions because at home against, you know, a lower league side, it should be training ground stuff. But yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Famous last words as Newcastle go and get beat 5-0 against Leicester at home. That wouldn't honestly surprise me either. But there you go, guys. That was a bit of a morning reaction. Gonna go grab myself a coffee and a bacon sandwich, I think. Heading home later on tonight after a few more things to do around here. But thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below. Let me know your thoughts on Dan Ashworth heading off for his big chunk of money. And then probably, you know he's out the door already. Did Newcastle miss a bullet on that one? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.